Hi, I'm Mark, this is Mark's Tech Vlogs on YouTube, and today I'm going to bring you guys a review of the 𝐵lindsMagic custom-made smart blinds for your home. Now, there's lots of ways to make blinds smart for all different kinds of budgets, and I've talked about those on this channel before. I've reviewed the 𝐵SOMA blind tilts, and the things I use most of the time for a lot of the blinds in my house are the SwitchBot blind tilts, which are fantastic devices costing around £60. And when you put these against something like a white Venetian blind, they actually don't look bad either. That being said, however, when 𝐵lindsMagic reached out and offered to send me some of their blinds to try out and review for you guys, I said yes, and I was really excited to receive them. So basically, 𝐵lindsMagic offered to send me a gift card I could use for anything on their website. That means in this video I can share with you the whole process from measuring your blinds to choosing which ones you want and the ordering process, along with the delivery and dispatch as well. Now of course, because they sent me a gift card, that means I haven't paid for the blinds you see in this video. But whenever a company reaches out to me and offers to send me something or work with me for something, I always say yes if it fits with the channel, but I would always make an honest review. That means I haven't been told what to say, and 𝐵lindsMagic won't know the content of this video until it goes live. It's also not a sponsored video. Now, 𝐵lindsMagic are actually a company based in the USA, but they've recently started shipping to Europe. And they sell a whole variety of different styles of blinds, and they're all made to order so they can fit your windows perfectly. During the order process, you can add different motors depending on what you want to work with your smart home infrastructure. That means you can get ones that work with just remotes, but also ones that work with things like Zigbee or Alexa or Google Home or Apple Home, and more importantly, Matter. And of course, Matter means it will work with Apple Home, Alexa and Google, giving you the freedom to switch in the future. You can also add on remote controls and also solar panels, so you never have to worry about charging them. Now, these blinds also come with a 2-year warranty, which is fantastic. I have got a link below that you can use to check out 𝐵lindsMagic and a voucher code that will save you 8%. But let's get on to the review, and in this video I'm going to talk you through the whole process from ordering them to delivery to installation to living with them, because I've been living with them for a few weeks now. Now, because it's going to be a long video, I'll put chapters below so you can find the section you want. But let's start off and talk about the order process and what they offer. So on the 𝐵lindsMagic website, you can easily choose between roller shades, sheer shades, zebra shades and cellular shades. Now you can browse these by type of blinds, but also things like blackout level. Now I knew I was going to be ordering some of these for my bedroom and living room, and especially in the bedroom for me, blackout is really important. And I actually decided to opt for the sheer shades because I still want some privacy during the day. That's because my house is pretty much on street level. And the sheer shades give me a privacy option, which means during the day I can let some light in without letting everyone see everything, but also at night I can have a nice blackout feature. And once you've found the blind style you want, the ordering process is pretty simple. The key part is measuring your windows ready for the blinds, and there's a really useful guide on the 𝐵lindsMagic website for this. If you do get it wrong, I believe they do offer a 50% discount for replacement blinds. Thankfully I didn't get it wrong. Now of course, if you're going to put the blinds on the outside of the window frame, the measurements don't matter quite as much, but when I was going to put them on the inside, that's really important. Now, living in the UK and having mostly measured in centimetres all my life, the trickiest part of the ordering process was actually measuring in inches and getting that right on their website. That's because the drop downs on their website are just in inches. Once you've selected the colour of your blinds, the mount type you want, and you've put your measurements in, it's time to choose a smart motor. And you can choose a standard motor, which is included, but you will need a remote for an additional $15. But actually, if you're ordering multiple blinds, you will only need one remote because the remotes can handle different channels. Each blind that you get is programmed to a different channel, and they do label on the blinds which channel is which. The thing is though, we're talking about smart tech here, and so you're probably going to want one of the smart motors. Now for $30 extra, you can get the Alexa or Zigbee motor. If you want the HomeKit or Matter motor, you're going to be paying an extra $80. Now all of the motors in terms of spec work at less than 35 decibels. They can also be charged from mains in 6 hours, and they have roughly 4 to 6 months battery life once fully charged. Now if you are ordering one of the smart motors, you probably want to order a remote as well. That's because the remote can be used to reprogram the kind of settings on the blinds, so kind of how far down they go and how high up they go. Now they do come pre-programmed, but I'd recommend picking up a remote just for future proofing. Next you choose which side you want the motor to be on, and you choose the valance style. This kind of varies depending on the blind type you're picking. And then finally, for an extra $50, you can add a solar panel, which I did because the best thing about smart blinds is you just leave them to do their thing, and so if they can charge themselves, that's even better. This gave me a total of $447 per blind, which is roughly £355. Now I did a bit more looking around at kind of custom smart blinds available in the UK in pounds by default, and this is actually slightly cheaper. Shipping is also free, which is great, and there was no tax to pay on top of that when it came into the UK. So after configuring my blinds, I placed my order and I waited. Now the whole ordering process is pretty simple, and the whole website is really well laid out. It's also worth mentioning that actually, as far as blinds go, I did go for some of the more expensive options, and there are cheaper options on the website. The blinds I did choose, however, as you've just seen, are the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐻 and 100% blackout. Now, because of the way the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐻 work, they're not quite 100% blackout, but they're pretty good. It's also worth noting that motor charges via USB-C. So I placed my order on the 23rd of November and then they arrived on the 6th of December. That means they took just under 2 weeks from order to delivery. And actually this is quicker than the timeline set out on the BlindsMagic website, which was a nice surprise. Now they are actually manufactured in China and then get shipped via UPS. So let's talk about installation and everything you get in the box. So these blinds do come with a remote if you ordered one, and like I said, I recommend you do. They come with the blinds themselves and all fixtures and fittings, and then some instructions as well. Mine also came with the solar panels because I had ordered the solar panels. And installation is really simple. You basically want to measure up where the mounts are going to go on your window to start with. These are spring loaded and you just need 2 of them for the size blinds that I had. Now the instructions recommend they go 4 inches from each end of the blinds. But actually it doesn't matter too much about precision with this. You just need to make sure they're level. That meant I could just use the existing holes from my old blinds. You can then mount the blind, which is really easy because you simply lift the lip over and push it back and it clicks into place. At this point, I'd recommend pairing them with your smartphone before adding the solar panel. Now, as I said, I went for matter ones because I was going to be using them with Apple Home. And the whole pairing process is pretty simple. On the top of the blind where the motor is, there is a tiny little button next to the USB-C port. You need to push this in for around 6 seconds using something like a sim release tool. After around 6 seconds, the blue light will come on and start flashing. At that point, you can remove the press. You then want to head into Apple Home, hit the plus, choose Add Accessory, and then scan the QR code that is on the bottom of the blinds themselves. It then connects and adds with absolutely no problem, and you give them a name and assign them to a room. This also means unless you're actually going to want to adjust the blind setup, and as I said, they do come pre-programmed for the height they are, you might not actually need that remote at all. But as I said, it's also worth having the remote just in case you need to reprogram them in the future. And then the final thing is to use the sticky pads and plug in the solar panel. Now I found that included sticky pads actually didn't last very well, and the solar panels both fell off within a couple of days. That meant I picked up some strong 3M pads off Amazon for about $5, and I've used them ever since and they've stayed stuck on perfectly. I'll link those below because I do recommend picking them up instead. And of course, once you've got it all set up and connected to Apple Home, you can open and close them to whatever setting you like in the Apple Home app. You can also then add them into your automations, and clicking into them will also tell you things like battery percentage and if they're charging or not. And so at the time of recording, I've been using these for about a month. I've had the grey set in my bedroom and I've had the white set in my living room. So let's talk about the design and using them. And for me, the design of these is great. All of my window woodwork and my windows are white, and so they actually fit in perfectly. Even though the top does protrude slightly, you don't really notice it because it is all white. The sheer shades themselves are just designed really well and just look really smart. Because I got my measurements right, they literally go right to the edges of my window. Because of the way they mount, you don't really see the solar panel if you put it right at the top of your window, and you can also push the cable up and hide it out the way. And because I ordered the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐻, I basically have 3 different settings with these, although they don't look any different in the Apple Home app. You can basically have the closed mode with 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐻, which basically means they're fully closed, but that means the shears are open, so it does let in a little bit of light. This is what's known as privacy mode. And then there's blackout mode, which from experimenting is roughly when they're closed to about 7%. And then of course there's open mode, which is when they're fully raised. And when I haven't been testing them for you guys, I've had them set to go to blackout at sunset and in privacy mode around 7 AM each morning. And I've done this via an automation in the Apple Home app. And this has worked well every single time. And because I've got HomePod minis that act as my Apple Home Hub, I can access this wherever I am in the world. And this is with absolutely no additional hub for these blinds, they just connect straight up to my HomeKit setup. Now when I first got them, they weren't charged to 100%, and I didn't bother charging them to 100%. And those solar panels have basically kept them topped up and not got them to 100%. And given it's currently winter in the UK, that's expected because it's been pretty dreary lately. In terms of noise when they operate, as I said, BlindsMagic say they operate at less than 35 decibels, and they are pretty quiet. They're certainly quieter than the SwitchBot blind tilts that I used before. They also respond within a few seconds of operating them via the Apple Home app. The same goes if you ask Siri to control them. And then we should also talk about quality and durability. Now I have cats who like to sit on windowsills. And of course, in order to get on the windowsill, they need to poke at the blinds and get them out of the way so they can move in between them. That means for a month, these blinds have been prodded with claws at the side, and in looking at them for this video, there's absolutely no damage. And it's probably not a great comparison, but my cheap Venetian blinds just got obliterated. And of course, it isn't a long-term test, but it's a really good sign about the durability and quality of these blinds. The other great thing from a perspective of a pet owner is that these have absolutely no string or cord to control them. That means you haven't got to tuck a string out the way so your cat doesn't play with it. And if you've got less tech-savvy family members, that remote is a great way for them to control the blinds as well. But are there any downsides? And it's actually really difficult to find downsides with these blinds, but if I'm being picky, there are two things to mention. Firstly, as I said, those sticky pads that come with the solar panels aren't good enough quality to stay up. I picked up the 3M pads and they're much better. And secondly, I think it's the price. And actually the price is really competitive for smart custom-made blinds, but that kind of price point will put some people off. And these are certainly a premium product. But having got through about 2 sets of Venetian blinds in the last 2 years with cats, you probably do get what you pay for, and I'm expecting these to last a lot longer based on their durability so far. So all in all, what's the verdict? So Blindsmagic have created some high quality, responsive smart blinds for your home that integrate seamlessly into Apple HomeKit. And of course, being Matter compatible if you go for the same motor that I've got, it means you can easily jump between ecosystems if you wanted to in the future. The blinds I've got look fantastic, do their job really well, and pass the cat claw test. The option for things like solar panels is great as well because you never have to worry about charging them. And of course, having a remote is great for less tech-savvy family members. And actually, whilst the price might put some people off, I actually think the quality is worth the cost. So if you're looking for good quality smart blinds for your home, then certainly check out Blindsmagic. If you do want to browse the whole blind selection they've got or pick some up, I'll put a link below. There's also a voucher code that will save you 8% on your order. Now that link is an affiliate link. That means if you make a purchase with that, I'll get a very small cut of what you spend and no cost to yourself. That helps this channel out because this isn't my full-time job and I don't get paid for these videos. If you've got any questions, stick them below and I'll answer those for you. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys again soon.